For this poem analysis, we will be looking at Aleksandr Pushkin's Morpheus. This poem was initially written in Russian, but will primarily be explicating its English translation. Pushkin was a writer during the Romantic period, and he is considered Russia's greatest poet and founder of modern Russian literature. As a movement, Romanticism focuses on nature and internal feelings and serves as a reaction against the mindset of the Enlightenment, which was characterized by hard facts, logic, and science. If we take a look at the structure of the poem, we can tell that the speaker is invoking the titular Morpheus to give him joy till morning, and he gives reasons for why this request should be accepted and instructions for how to follow through. Clearly, it has something to do with the speaker's romantic life. In Greek mythology, Morpheus is the god associated with dreams and sleep. In fact, the root word morph means shape, and Morpheus would physically shape the dreams of mortals. In poetry, when a speaker is pleading to someone otherworldly, this is called an invocation. The power of invocation creates a relationship between man and deity, and the poet is bestowed with the power of creation to an extent. Typically, it is used to accomplish some sort of goal. So why would the speaker call upon Morpheus in particular? Judging by the language of the poem, it's probably safe to archetype the speaker as a hopeless romantic who would like to forget about the pains of love in the waking world and relish in an ideal love in his dreams. Now we can take a look at the dominant figures of speech to understand that this is indeed an invocation, and we can also interpret the theme of the poem itself. The poetic devices we can clearly see are uses of imagery, apostrophe, anaphora, symbolism, contrast, hyperbole, and paradox. The apostrophe is most obvious since the speaker is invoking Morpheus by name at the beginning of the poem. His pleas form the anaphora. The repetition also creates persistence in the speaker's tone and suggests faith in Morpheus's power. There are two symbols that are particularly noticeable because the speaker implores Morpheus about them specifically. The first is the heart, the traditional symbol of love. Then there are the candles, which the speaker wants blown out. Obviously, they serve as a source of light, but they could also represent a burning passion, but could also represent consciousness. Then the candles lead into the contrast, in which Pushkin uses light and dark throughout the poem. The dark gives the speaker some security in his dreams, while he suffers pain in the light of the real world. The speaker hyperbolizes his love from his perspective, calling it forever painful, and we can connect this to the following lines referring to some sort of admonition or pain which the soul experienced in the waking world. The paradox is prevalent in the last two lines, and it's kind of a stretch, but if the heart is the seat of emotion and romantic feelings, yet the speaker no longer desires that, then the heart will be contradicting its nature. The imagery of the poem is not very stark as far as descriptive language, but we can visualize the actions the speaker wishes Morpheus to perform, therefore the imagery complements the anaphora. The vocabulary is very simple, but both it and the tone are imperative and imploring, especially with the reinforcement from the anaphora. We get some description with the adjective dear when the speaker describes his object of affection. If we wanted to get quantitative, both the words and let are used 5 times each throughout the poem. It's also written in active voice, since the speaker uses the pronouns me and my, so he's not only personalizing the poem, but giving himself a presence, which makes the invocation all the more powerful. If we look at the word candles, we'll see that it's possessive plural, and that can very well confirm the symbolism behind a person's love and passion or consciousness. Now, if we take all the figurative language and reread the poem, we can pick up on a tone that is not only imperative, but lovesick, pained, and maybe even bitter, especially if we look at the phrase separation's sharp rebuke. Separation is the only word without a concrete meaning, because we lack the context for why there was a separation and what kind of separation it was. Finally, we'll look at the sounds and structure of the poem. Keep in mind, we've been looking at an English translation, so if you try to map out a meter or rhyme for it, it's going to come out awkward and haphazard. Please note that I am not a native speaker. I'm studying the language. Morphe, doutre dai otradu, Moj mučitelnoj ljubi, приди задуй мою лампаду, мои мечты благослови. Сокрой от памяти унылый, в разлуке страшный приговор. Пускай увижу милый взор, пускай услышу голос милый. Когда жмчится ночи мгла, и ты мои покинешь очи, о, если бы душа могла забыть любовь до новой ночи. The meter in Russian is iambic tetrameter. If you think about it, an iambic or strophic tetrameter is reminiscent of a heartbeat. The rhyme scheme is as listed, and there is alliteration both in Russian and in English. It's 12 lines. Now, if you look really carefully, you'll notice that the way Morpheus is structured, it's almost a sonnet. We're just missing the GG couplet at the end, and lines 5 through 8 have a different rhyme scheme. Sometimes the versification not only serves an organizational purpose, but a figurative purpose as well. Perhaps Morpheus was structured as such to illustrate the theme of a love or a romance that is not fulfilled or has gone awry, or even the death of a significant other, therefore leading to the speaker's bitterness, which he believes can only be subdued in his idyllic dreams of that significant other.